Okay, hi, this is Julian. In this part 6 of the cleaning business demo of the systems, and this time we're going to really look at the Jobber piece, which is the core operational system. So far, we looked at the website, which was Wix, is now Go High Level. We touched briefly on Connect Team, which again is about managing the teams, but the synchronization with Wix didn't really work for us. In part 4, we go on and look at QuickBooks. The heart of the system is really Jobber, and this is the main menu. Now, the reason we went to this rather than Wix or Go High Level, which both had sophisticated calendars and booking systems, was the amount of emails and the automations that were going out. We found there was sort of too many and we were switching them off. And so we were looking at this with a perspective of allowing us to manage that a little bit better. Now, at the heart of this, it has a schedule. These are the jobs, or a few of the jobs. If it's got a line through it, it's been done. I can complete or uncomplete it here. I could look at the details and so on and so forth of that job. The other two systems had a CRM. Jobber also has a CRM system where we can see the people. If I look at my wife here, Anna, we have information about them, their address, what properties they have, what work is ongoing, a schedule of future visits, which could be out for a year if we book recurring appointments, any requests that have come in from the website. Do you remember I went to the website and clicked on booking? This filled out a form that manifests itself here as a request. Have we sent a quote for doing work? Have we done some jobs? We've got upcoming jobs here. And have we invoiced them? So everything is stored against the client record. And as we add something in here, it also synchronizes with QuickBooks and it synchronizes with Go High Level so that all of the core information is here. And that integration with QuickBooks is important because all of the clients, the quotes, and the invoices, and in fact, some of the expenses go into QuickBooks. So it really means that all the manual work that we're doing by taking and recreating invoices from Wix into an accounting system is now pretty much automated. So the requests is a list of requests. And if I create a new request, this is done via the web form where we fill out various fields. Do I want interior cleaning, or is it initial clean or deep clean? And all of these are questions that are asked on the website, plus we get the name and address. And this pops in here as a request into this list. And then we also might schedule an assessment. So it could be a phone call or a visit, and we can assign a person to it who's actually going to do that work. So that's great. So from the head office, we can schedule people out to go and do an assessment. When they do an assessment, they basically look at the job and say, well, that's a 3-hour job for a standard clean, or it's 8 hours for a deep clean, or whatever that is. And we put a quote together. And here's a list of quotes. I haven't got any dummy ones. So if I create a quote, it says it's from a template. I select the client, I get the address, I could say who the salesperson is, what's the quality of the opportunity, and then what are the items. There's a couple of pre-built ones here, so I'm going to delete the initial clean and just say we're doing a weekly clean, we're doing 3 hours at £25. That's pretty much it. We often ask for a deposit up front, £25, which we then use that against the second and the third cleans, not the first one, just to build in some sort of loyalty, as it were, or we get people that basically lie and they don't want to do multiple, they just want the initial clean, but they want it at the cheaper rate. So we charge higher, or sometimes we'll give it a lower rate for the for regular cleaning, maybe 22 or something if it's a regular weekly automatic payments. But if it's not, we charge a higher rate. We can put a message in here, and then here the terms, there's actually quite a long list. These are terms that we've worked out. I'm not going to read through those. That we've worked out, we think are important for us. I'll probably do a video on that. We can put internal notes that will pop up on the job and things like that, and we can say any notes are related to both jobs and invoices, and we can select a client and that becomes the quote, and we can email it. So it doesn't go out automatically when you save it. You can save the quote, or you can save an email to the client. And when you assign we're not assigning any staff to this one, but whenever we assign staff to a job, We can also tick a box that says email them. Otherwise, it will just appear in the app, which they should check on a regular basis. So that sort of puts us fully in control. And when you've done a quote and it's been accepted, it will then say, do you want to turn that into a job? And this is a list of the jobs. Will be in a second. And if I create a new job, I won't put a client on it, but it can be a one-off thing like an initial clean, or it could be a recurring job. And we can say, well, we're going to do this at 10 a.m. We're going to do it weekly on a Wednesday or every 2 weeks on a Wednesday. You've got a lot of control over this. We're going to do it for 6 months. So this is on the 7th. Let's say it's going to be on Friday. It's obviously 2 hours long. It's every 2 weeks. We're going to assign the team. We might assign that later. Let's assign it to my wife there, and we can choose to email the team or not, which is great, right? So we can do a lot of work in here, get everything lined up, and then go back and do the emails. And then the invoicing is really important. We can say, is it per visit or is it a fixed price, monthly on the last day of the month? Normally we do when a visit is completed. So in that schedule or on the app that a cleaner has, when they finish the job, they go tick, it's completed, and then that prompts us to do the invoice. Now, if we've checked get paid automatically and they've left their credit card on file, as soon as we completed, it automatically sends an invoice, takes the payment automatically, and sends them a receipt. Now, if they don't want to have the automatic payment, we turn that off, but we usually try and charge them an extra £1 an hour for the privilege. Then we select what it is that we're doing. Say weekly cleaning, it's going to be 4 hours at our base rate is 22 for that. And you could add other items. So we could say, here's a carpet clean, here's whatever it is. Any notes, we select the client, and then we can save it, or we can save and send it to the client as an email. And they will see that as a regular. They can see that it's a recurring job. Once we've done the work, we then invoice it. So that's the next step in the process. And I can, if I do batch creating invoices, any jobs that have been finished since the last time I did that will pop up on the list. I'll just do a new invoice here. It looks very similar. I'll just choose myself, get the address. This could have come through from a quote, so this will all be in there automatically, but in this case, and I can add a deposit. So if I've added in a deposit or paid a deposit previously, we can apply some or all of that deposit here. And that's it. So there's no T's and C's or whatever. There's a simple little disclaimer or note here, because all of our terms and conditions, they accept in the when the quote is done. We can accept partial payments. We don't normally need to do that. We can now send that, or we can save it, or we can send as an email or send as a text. If we do collect payment, we have very few clients where we manually collect via a credit card remotely. We get their details, we ring them up, we say, right, that's £50 or whatever it is, and they pay us. So the process is just lined up there. Clients, requests, quotes, jobs, invoices, and all of that pretty much syncs with QuickBooks. And so whilst this is very much more expensive than Wix, it's £160 a month, I think, compared to £16 a month, so 10 times the price, and that's only for 5 users. As we add on more cleaners, we'll have to pay another $30 until we upgrade. Is it worth it for what we need? Yes, but it's expensive. As we get to 10 cleaners and we're doing more jobs, more scale, I think we'll have a really good system in place to grow, basically. Now, we're doing the marketing in Go High Level, which was over here, if you remember that, the marketing and the websites and so on. But if you notice down here, it's also got a marketing component here. I haven't looked at this fully, but it allows us to do a website. It's also got the AI receptionist, which will answer calls, which we've been doing in Go High Level. I haven't shown that. And it also has reputation management. So if I think it's on the invoices, if I look at an invoice, no, it's not there, but you will see a thing where it asks us, do we want to send, I think maybe it's under the clients. Let's just go and have a look at a client. Yeah, here we can do communications here and ask them for review, and it handles all of that. So the things that we were planning to do in Go High Level, there is an issue that perhaps with the upgrade to the next version, we can use the marketing, the receptionist, we can do the reputation management, and then maybe we don't need Go High Level at all, or that's just for some more sophisticated email marketing and advertising and so on. So slight question mark over that, because there's definitely more capabilities in Jobber than I anticipated in the first instance. So this is expensive, and I think if you're starting out in the first year, perhaps something like Wix really would do the job, but you'd have to just be very careful with the automations. And I wouldn't be looking at integrating it with Connect Team or something like that. And maybe Wix without Go High Level, is perfectly good. And then you upgrade to something like Jobber. So, we'll sort those things out in the next few days, weeks, and months before we get to selling the franchises, etc. But I think this is really the key system, and it's worked very well. It literally took a few hours to implement the basics. There's lots of settings in here where you can control things. You can manage your team, your work settings, routing, optimization between jobs, the payment system and integration with taking payments and integration with QuickBooks. The products and services are listed here again. So this is now our master rather than being in Wix or Go High Level. So, we can see here bi-weekly cleaning. We've got the description of it, the price, tax, etc., etc. So really this is our central system. All of those email alerts that were a problem you can control here. So this is really just setting up the format of those. This is a new invoice. You can add in personalized fields. It usually comes from Anna or a generic address or something like that. This is an example of what that would look like. And it shows you things like the invoice total, etc. And you can just overwrite this when you actually come to send it if you need to. So hopefully that gives you a good overview of GetJobber. And I think it certainly it works well. Thank you.